I'm Gareth Armstrong, and you're listening to a Razor's Edge podcast. This is our Critical Core and Scale Competencies series. And in the first episode, we spoke about the necessity of competencies in our business, just as a general rule, and emphasis on rule. Then in the next episode, we spoke about the first of the critical competencies, which is marketing. And in this episode, we're going to be speaking about a second critical competency, which is sales. Across from me is Alon Reyes, CEO of Race Corp. Alon, the critical competency of sales. Please, kick us off.
So sales, often confused with marketing, and maybe we should just give a differentiation right now. Marketing is a one-to-many kind of environment where you are, through media and similar, are communicating to more than one individual about your product or your company or your value proposition. It's a reinforcement, it's an encouragement, it's a one-to-many environment. An advert is an example of marketing where it basically communicates something about your business or product to an audience. Where sales is best defined as a one-to-one. Obviously, from a technical perspective, there might be more than one person in a room, but you're sincerely trying to convince them to now convert their feelings about your business or product into signing a document saying, I'm purchasing that, or going to the till and purchasing it. I'll give you a great example of that in a subtle way, where a psychologist who was running meditation sessions online every second week with her client base. So she would put out communication via WhatsApp to her client base to say that this was happening every second Tuesday, and every second Tuesday the nature of the meditation would change. That's marketing. This is happening every Tuesday to a broad audience. When she converted to sales, which was directly sending a message to one of her clients saying, this will really serve you.
Yeah, hey, this meditation is on this particular topic. We've been discussing it.
Yes, it's going to serve you. Yeah, it's going to be good for you. Not only would there be the possibility that they might join the meditation, which was not really a money-making opportunity, but more importantly, the client would then say, oh, by the way, I need a session with you.
Yeah, I want to take this a little bit further. I loved it. I want to go further.
No. Just by sending the direct message to the client would say, oh, that's interesting that you're running the meditation group on Tuesday, but actually I want to come see you.
Oh, so there was double.
Yes, it was double. So it moved into sales. What I'm trying to explain here is when a general message went out, it was marketing. When she sent a direct message to Gareth saying, hey, Gareth, I'm running this thing on Tuesday. I know what we've been talking about. This might serve you very well. Gareth then said, actually, I've forgotten about you. I want to come see you. It converted into a sales process, not into a marketing process. That's just a subtle way of explaining the difference between sales and marketing for a one-man band, which is a psychologist. And so sales is the next critical competency. I believe it's probably of the three critical competencies, it's the most critical competency, which is the ability to convert people to buying your product. When I work with entrepreneurs, I go, sell, sell, sell. You know, when you sell, it forgives a lot of mistakes that you've made in the past. When you're bringing in new clients, when you're bringing in money, when you're bringing in orders, the value is more than just the financial value. It's the learning value. It's the confidence value. There's so much more that happens when a business is bringing in orders. It's learning about what to do, what not to do. People are starting to be brought into more specific roles. In other words, the company starts to differentiate from the inside because it has to, in order to counter complexity. So sales is a critical competency that a business needs. And so the emphasis is really to build out the sales function and the sales capability in the business. If you want to understand this in a deeper way, you can go listen to the podcast in the Razor's Edge series called Building a Sales Team, where I go into specific detail on what to do in order to build out the sales function in a business. So once again, the litmus test here is to think of a company that's global, that does not have the ability to sell. You can't. By definition, scale requires sale. You have to be able to sell. Once again, I'll remind you why we are calling these critical competencies, because I am trying to avoid you using selling as a core competency.
There's such an interesting almost tension between the words critical and core, because I automatically want to say, well, it is core, but it's also critical. And so I'm very interested in what happens next when we discuss what a core competency really is. But just elaborate a little bit on that, please.
So the big difference between core and critical is not negotiable. Sales, marketing, distribution are not negotiable for scale, whereas core competencies are required, but their label, their type, you can choose. And even over time, they can change. Sales, not negotiable, can never change. It's critical. Choose any of your core competencies. You can choose them. Your one will be different to mine.
Differentiation.
They are the basis of differentiation. The way you differentiate your business is different to the way that I'll differentiate my business.
And it's all expressed through core competencies, which, as you have said, now can change.
Yes. They shouldn't change too often, but they can change. But we'll deal with that when we deal with core competencies.
And so as you're listening to this, I'm almost certain that you're seeing some of the picture emerge and becoming quite excited by it. To have the next part of this picture revealed, listen to the next episode where we're going to be talking about the critical competency of distribution. This has been a Razor's Edge podcast. My name is Gareth Armstrong, and Alon and I will be with you in the next episode.